In other news, a bizarre accident in Delhi. A very powerful radiation leak in a West Delhi industrial area has left 5 people very ill. The source was identified as a radioactive compound that is used to treat cancer patients.
Well, the area around a scrap shop where it was found has now been cordoned off, but there are crucial questions being raised about how and why what was hazardous hospital waste wasn't disposed of correctly.
Ground Zero completely off limits after toxic radiation exposure at the scrap market in West Delhi. 5 people are now in hospital. It's possibly the worst case of radiation exposure in India, as the levels were 1,000 times higher than the permissible limits. The Delhi police cordoned off almost half a kilometer inside the market. Inside, specialists from the Department of Atomic Energy, armed with Geiger counters to detect radiation, looked through metal scrap in dozens of shops. Finally, after 16 hours of searching, an all clear was sounded.
About 8 large bunches of scrap in which there are entangled radioactive materials. Some of them they have identified as in the shape of wires. Some of them could be pellets. Now all this material has been isolated.
The source was identified as cobalt-60, a radioactive compound often used in hospitals to treat cancer patients. This should ideally be disposed of by experts, but it somehow landed up in the shop of Deepak Jain, a scrap dealer. He and his workers were exposed for several days before Jain developed classic telltale signs of radiation poisoning, which include dizziness, hair loss, burn and rash marks on his hands, and dehydration. Jain is reported to be in critical care, and last night 4 of his workers also landed in hospital. Items possibly contaminated have now been taken to the Narora atomic station for further analysis. Doctors say that specialized care has to be taken for radiation exposure.
It can cause secondary contamination to the healthcare workers if not decontaminated. The key word is decontamination. Nationally, there are 60 to 70 doctors who have been trained in this, but however the facility remains here.
3 government hospitals were recently equipped ahead of the Commonwealth Games to take care of patients who may have faced biological or radioactive exposure. While this particular radiation threat has now been contained, experts and doctors warn that this is a wake-up call and that there needs to be better coordination and better response from the authorities to prevent a bigger accident. In New Delhi, Siddharth Pandey for NDTV.
Tuba.com